What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy, the wisest and most powerful of all nerds, the beautiful black man himself, Brian Meezus. The third Avengers movie, Avengers Infinity War, is just around the corner, comes out this week. Fans across the world have literally been anticipating this very moment since way back in 2012, perhaps even before that, when the first Avengers movies was debuted. Perhaps even more so amongst the most devout comic book enthusiasts who dreamed about seeing Thanos in a movie. To say that Avengers Infinity War is the culmination of 10 years of hard work would be an understatement. Fans and die-hard comic book enthusiasts across the world have anticipated this movie's arrival since back in 2012 when it was foreshadowed that this interstellar event, that is the Infinity War, would take place. And for die-hard fans like myself, this is more than a dream come true. If you don't know by now, Infinity centers around a main antagonist, Thanos, and his ambition to collect all 6 Infinity Stones and summon Exodia, the Forbidden One, or bring balance to the galaxy, or whichever one comes first. I don't really know. In trying to achieve his goals, Thanos finds himself against the MCU's greatest heroes since they hold the majority of stones needed to see his goals realized. Of course, our heroes aren't feeling the whole Exodia thing since he's way OP, so they're not giving up their stones. This is Thanos we're talking about. He's a beast without the gauntlet or stones, and going by the previews, the MCU is going to find that out the hard way. Though with a conflict like that, we are all assured to leave the theaters satisfied or mortified, which is why Marvel dominates at the box office. They constantly churn out organic conflicts that pull moviegoers into discussions about humanity and existence. Even when these conflicts are resolved on the big screen, they still linger with fans long after the credits roll. Furthermore, Marvel crafts these journeys effortlessly, all while making the MCU accessible for casual fans, as well as staying true to the glue for zealots such as myself, and we're thankful for that. So with the third Avengers movie just around the corner, we thought we'd show our appreciation by listing our top 10 favorite Marvel films. Before we begin today, I want to remind you that you can purchase the new Avengers and Deadpool King Chimera shirts on Teespring. That way, when you go to see Avengers this coming weekend or whenever, you can go up there, look like a freaking pimp, dressed for the occasion, and looking like you're a real comic book nerd. Number 10, Guardians of the Galaxy. Before receiving their own movie on the big screen and having a hit show on Disney XD, the Guardians of the Galaxy were largely obscure. In fact, even Brian Meezus didn't know too much about Guardians of the Galaxy before their first movie debut. And while Guardians of the Galaxy are great movies, I bet there's still not too much you can tell me about the Guardians themselves, save for they kick ass and save the galaxy. But if I were to ask you about Spider-Man or the X-Men, you can probably tell me about their origins, motivations, love interests, and so on. So with all the unknowns in Guardians of the Galaxy, how has it been so successful in the box office? Well, it's the soundtrack. Everything else is kind of extra or more so quasi-typical for a team-up action movie. Different characters, different backgrounds, different motivations, but the same narrative we've seen a dozen times. Something big versus something small. Small usually wins. But the soundtrack, underscoring the quirky, warm, improvisational elements of Guardians of the Galaxy's heart, that's the real defining factor, providing a bedrock for the rest of the movie to stand on. Now, I could go into how Guardians of the Galaxy protagonists are easy to identify with, or how the plot is clear and concise, or how its serious moments, while softened by comic relief, maintain their intended effects, or how the end goal or end game were foreshadowed excellently. But instead, I'll say this. The movie feels good because it looks good, and it looks good because it sounds good. Also, the overarching theme present in Guardians of the Galaxy, that being unity through diversity, meshes well with current social ideology. Number 9, Spiderman Homecoming. As many of you guys already know, Spider-Man is my most favorite superhero of all time. And why wouldn't he be? Please check out my top 8 Spider-Man of all time list if you haven't already. By the way, Peter Parker, without a doubt, is a very relatable character. If you're a student, irresponsible teen, slacker, or jokester, he's you. If you're driven, intelligent, responsible, dedicated, or mature, he's you. If you're caring, clumsy, observant, he's also you. Once that mask goes on, he becomes anyone and everyone. That's Spider-Man's universal appeal, and that's where Homecoming, unlike its predecessor, shine. Spider-Man is meant to be every man, Homecoming maintains this illusion very well, but its predecessors fell in this regard, because they always fully or partially remove Spider-Man's mask, breaking the illusion. They do this because Spider-Man has no other way to emote with his mask on, which is crucial to the character because emotion is how he encourages the audience to identify with him. Spider-Man is a wise guy who is constantly talking as a way to deal with a healthy amount of anxiety, excitement, and self-doubt, as well as other emotional turmoil. But how does the audience know that about him if they can't see or hear it? The answer is they don't, or they didn't until Homecoming. If you pay attention to the Homecoming Spider-Man suits versus the other suits, you notice a big difference. His eyes emote, and Holland never shuts up. These two seemingly insignificant elements help craft that improvisational average Jonas that Spider-Man is known for, which is truer than the original comic and helps Homecoming stand out from his predecessors by giving us a window into the main character without extraneous explanations, which would kill the flow of the movie. Homecoming is made truly great for doing this. The only gripe I had is that Spider-Man didn't throw any punches, which is reminiscent of the 90s Spider-Man. He threw 3 punches in the entire series, and that there wasn't any significant personal loss he experienced. I know this sounds really Killmonger-ish, but the death is really necessary in Spider-Man. It's what Peter defines himself by and why he does what he does. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't have much to say about this movie. It's the same as the first, just better. Not much to say, just funnier, more action-packed version of the first one with a slightly better soundtrack. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get out of here with that bull crap. Of course, coming to number 8 is Iron Man number 3. I just love seeing Robert Downey Jesus work. There's a reason why Robert Downey Jesus is the highest paid actor in the world, and it's because he deserves it. Robert Downey Jesus is the reason why superhero movies are so respected. Robert Downey Jesus is the reason why the superhero blockbuster is the most respected movie genre on the planet. Thank you, Robert Downey Jesus. Iron Man 3 is the best Iron Man movie in my opinion because it's a lot more fast-paced than the rest of the Iron Man movies. I love how they adapted the villain Mandarin, which was normally Iron Man's staple villain for most of his career and life in the comic books, into like this pseudo-terrorist / image. It kind of speaks to the social life of how America and media works overall, where the West is controlling the conflicts in the East to justify their actions in the West or abroad and whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to number 7. Number 7, Thor: Dark World. Thor: The Dark World is a great movie and the best Thor movie in the trilogy because it feels the truest of the 3. In the first and third Thor movie, Thor must prove himself to be worthy of the Thor name. And while that is quasi-Thor-like with the whole honor dynamic thing, it's not really necessary. And the first Thor movie, Thor gets stripped of his hammer and has to live a semi-normal life. And in the third movie, he loses his hammer at the beginning of the movie. And in Thor Ragnarok, it feels more like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie with the characters being replaced with Thor and Hulk. Thor: The Dark World actually feels like you're watching a Thor comic book. But in the first and third Thor movies, it feels like Thor is less of a Thor than he actually is in the first Avengers and second Avengers movies. I'm not saying that the first Thor movie and the third Thor movie were bad movies by any means. They are great movies, but Thor: Dark World feels like the most complete Thor movie. The movie that makes me feel the most connected to Asgard more than any of the other Thor movies. Unlike the other 2 Thor movies that strip him of his full potential, Thor is in his prime, and you get to see him struggle against opposition that can challenge him in his prime, as opposed to other movies where the concept of the struggle is by removing him from power. Number 6, The Avengers. Held the title for the greatest superhero movie for a while. It broke records left and right, and we were anticipating its release in 2012 for about 4 years. The Avengers wrote off momentum from his other superhero movies, which were Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, all which were stellar movies. And just like in the comic books, they took those independent, individual characters and gave them an interconnected story which seemingly brought them all together for a profound cause. In addition to that, it enforces the notion that you don't have to like all 4 of the characters like the Avengers movies. You could have not seen one or several of the respective characters' movies, or perhaps Avengers was the first MCU movie that you saw and you still would have enjoyed it, and you still have understood the scope of that movie. And yeah, it's not the first time we've had a superhero team up in the movies, X-Men being one of them, but X-Men movies are not Avengers movies, and that can be painfully obvious. Avengers movies, for example, have multiple dynamics at play, and no one character is the focal point of these movies. And by pushing the envelope on what a superhero movie can be, with its special effects, great storytelling, the Avengers broke ground in the genre. Number 5, Doctor Strange. I'm going to start off by saying that I have never enjoyed watching a movie in IMAX format as much as I have when I watched Doctor Strange. As of now, Doctor Strange is literally the king of cinematic special effects. If you were to combine the movie Inception with the best action scenes of Harry Potter and combine it with the Marvel cinematic formula, that's what you get. Harry Potter plus Inception equals Doctor Strange, and it's very rare that I am truly blown away by special effects. I have never been under the influence of any type of drug, but I can imagine somebody dying or coming to a new realization on life from watching Doctor Strange in IMAX in 3D while high on psychedelics. Of course, there's a lot more I could say about the Doctor Strange movie, but because of the special effects alone, it gets number 5 on my list. Number 4, Captain America Winter Soldier. Captain America Winter Soldier was the first superhero movie to show me that it was possible for a standalone superhero movie to be better than Avengers. And also that the Russo brothers are the best choreographers in the movie making business. The pacing is perfect, allowing for an intimacy with Captain America more so than the comics. This was the first superhero movie I cried, and I wasn't even crying because of the emotional parts. I was crying because the action was so good. The whole scene on the highway where Captain America and Black Widow are running for their lives and Steve gets into a fight with Bucky. Did you see that knee?
Yes!
Because of that fight, Captain America and Winter Soldier became the greatest kung fu cult classic without even trying to be. Captain America is not even my favorite Avenger, and when it comes to the big four, Iron Man is my go-to, but even without a fancy suit of armor, a lot of money, a magic hammer, all the strength and power in the world, Captain America still gives us our money's worth and outshines the Avengers. Plus, it has Samuel Jackson's best performance in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is enough to put any Marvel movie on our top 10 list. Number 3, Black Panther. Black Panther is the most recent Marvel Studios movie to be released, and boy did it do everything but disappoint. Breaking on records left and right, it's become the greatest standalone superhero movie / origin film that we had thus far. Before Black Panther was featured in Captain America Civil War, he was one of the most obscure Marvel superheroes, but now he's basically overshadowed his fellow black contemporaries such as Falcon, War Machine, and even Blade from back in the day. While the action and fighting in Black Panther was better than the vast majority of superhero movies, his action scenes weren't groundbreaking or as good as other Marvel movies. But Black Panther doesn't need action to stand upon. Instead, it has great acting and an organic story to draw upon. It also has Killmonger, the star of the show, and the most iconic character, even more so than Heath Ledger's Joker, but just under Darth Vader. In addition to its acting, the movie is so meta when it comes to current political and racial issues, especially amongst blacks in the world today, becoming a lightning rod for blacks to galvanize around the world. Coming in at number 2, Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. Avengers 2 Age of Ultron is a bigger, better version of Avengers number 1. And yeah, that's basically all I need to say about that. So we're going to move on to number 1 if you guys don't mind, because we're taking up a lot of time as it is. Number 1, Captain America Civil War. This is unanimously regarded as the greatest superhero film. It's pretty self-explanatory why, but let me break it down for you. Captain America Civil War benefits from being both a Captain America film and an Avengers movie all at the same time. It's not the same large thrill-ride action movie Avengers Age of Ultron is, but it's clever, fast-paced, and well choreographed. Like the scene Captain America finds Bucky and begins chasing after him, the SWAT team shows up, then they hit you with the tag team kick-ass with camera angle that will make your head spin. Then the Black Panther shows up and kicks ass even more. Okay, what's going on now? And now it's Bucky and Captain America versus the Black Panther that eventually turns into a highway getaway chase.
And then a giant tornado came, and that's when things got knocked into 12th gear.
You get the point. Captain America Civil War also did a seamless job of incorporating and introducing the Black Panther and Spider-Man into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, basically killing 3 or 4 birds in one stone. By killing stones, I mean they bring 2 highly anticipated characters into the MCU both each with a stone, a single stone. I'm not talking about Infinity Stones here. They show each of the characters matching the whole Avengers scope, and they also show how these characters relate to Captain America. There's a large gradation in the movie on what's right and what's wrong, but it also forces the viewer to side with Captain America because the viewer knows that Bucky is innocent. The main villain of the movie, Baron Zemo, takes a backseat because the major conflict in this movie happens amongst the heroes. Captain America and friends are the protagonists, and even beloved characters like Spiderman and Black Panther and Iron Man are the antagonists. Let us revisit the action sequences once again, such as the strong, action-packed intro of the movie, the intense middle sequences such as when Bucky escapes and fights Captain America, Black Panther, and the Black Widow, the unforgettable superheroes versus superheroes showdown at the airport, and then the heartfelt 2-against-1 fight at the very end with Iron Man against Captain America and Bucky. Anyway guys, that wraps up my top 10 list of the greatest movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far. I'm sure this list will change slightly with the inclusion of Avengers Infinity War, meaning the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie will get kicked off the list somehow, someway. And please, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys think about the video? Are you guys excited about Avengers Infinity War? What are your top 10 favorite Marvel Cinematic movies? Before you go, don't forget to check out the new King Camaro shirts on Teespring so you can like a freaking pimp when you show up at the movies. Check the description below for reading recommendations on my favorite Marvel superheroes, especially the Avengers. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already to see more marvelous content. And anyway guys, it's your boy Brian Meezus, the wisest and most powerful of all nerds. I will see you guys next time with the Avengers Infinity War review.